the prejudice against Islam and Islamophobia is because of the radicals. Because, radicalism is completely, Mr. Matthew, what do you think about this? Is completely, against Islam because radicals act in the name of Islam, but they do these things just hiding behind the bigotry. And radicalisms are completely against Islam. There is love in Islam, there is brotherhood in Islam, there is aesthetic and beauty, and these radicals are lack of these features, I could say. And what do you think? Are you aware of the trait of the radicalism that is causing Islamophobia in the West? And do you plan to write about this?
Absolutely. I would say, though, cause and effect here is a little tricky for me sometimes because I feel that while I would never condone the actions of violent extremists of any religion or persuasion, sometimes I feel that a lot of that is just the cause of very bad Western policies. And it's not enough to just say that if there were no extremists, the Western world would have a better view of the Islamic world. And I even struggle with that label a bit because there's so much diversity within both worlds. But I would say that really there's a lot of responsibility on the part of the West to not only change its policies, where that's something that people don't have a whole lot of control over, despite democracy, them being democratic. It's not always, it's not democratic in the sense that I can decide, that the people can decide, per se, not to go to war with Iran or Iraq. But beyond just policies is that the media really does not portray the Islamic world in too flattering of a light, the mainstream media. And by over publicizing radicals, not only do you give them what they want, you create this really negative image in the minds of Westerners who have not traveled and really met the people in the Islamic world and realize that they're not at all like the types that you see on the news. So I think that there really needs to be a very many changes that need to be made, and I think it really starts with the West in changing the media coverage and its policies.
But yeah, I totally agree. But absolutely, yes. But these radicals are giving a reason to the politics. All these scenarios are generated from the politics, and then politically they are using these radicals, and they just use in the name of patriotism, they use in the name of Christianity or other aspects. This politics can abuse this. So if the radicals doesn't give this reason to them, it wouldn't be easy to find. If we just approach the people as the Quran, orders, like Allah orders that we with love and with like justice and with brotherhood, they would be more. They will have no reason to generate such policies. What do you think, Jerry?
I completely agree. What I find disturbing is that a lot of what went on in the past couple of months, especially with the release of quote unquote the movie, and all the violence that was supposedly surrounded around that. The media here was really, really quick to pick up on that and to say, look, these are all, these Muslims are all out protesting and burning, and they killed, this person for over this movie, and I know Mr. Walker had this Mr. Johnson had this in one of his articles, and I completely agree with his view on this. That there was nothing to do with this movie, and they actually had information on this. The only thing is when they started to leak out the information that they knew it was not this movie, that it was actually Western policy that caused this. The mainstream media here had nothing to say about it. I mean, they pushed when they thought it was a movie, they pushed it all over the entire northern hemisphere, the Western hemisphere. They're like, oh, it's a movie, it's a movie. Well, then we come back and we start finding out that there's emails that they knew what was going on every second of this in the U.S. The politics here and the government here knew where this was coming from. They knew it was not because of a movie, but they still let that get pushed out. And then when they do come out with it, the only place you can see it is on the internet. Yeah. So that in itself, and I'm hoping this is a big slap on the hand for our media here, because that in itself is not integrity. That's not character of media. I mean, it used to be that you go back 30, 40 years and the media did somewhat support what the people wanted to see. Now they support what the government wants the people to see. It's a big propaganda machine, and what that is when our media here went purely corporate. Now that they're corporate owned, they put their own corporate interest in that, and they have political venues there too. They all have their different political venues, and this all gets put into our media. So one thing I can commend Turkey on is that we have media like this in Turkey, and in the Middle East and in the Eastern world that America doesn't have it anymore. So that is a big problem there, and I definitely agree that this has to start with the Western world, because when they attack Islam and you have people that are acting as radicals and using Islam for that, and you still have the Western world, especially the media, not so much the government now, but the media attacking them, they just keep inciting this violence because they know it sells. They can sell products on commercials when people are drug in to watch this stuff. So it's a very, to me, a very evil way of doing business, but evil sells. So we definitely need to change the ideologies in the Western world, especially, I think, in America, when it comes to the way people look at Islam in the Middle East.
Yeah. So we will use our own media channels like this program to show the people in the United States that Islam is that, or like the same like beauty and brotherhood.
Yeah.